So as soon as you see the green light, that means we're live in direct. It says now streaming. What do you think?
I haven't. Yeah.
Awesome. I jump on my phone, but now we've got all this awesome equipment. It would start recording that, and we'd have some kind of dimensional portal conversation. Anywho, welcome, listeners, viewers, and all you in between to One-on-One Live with Coach Blu. We are excited to be with you today. There's a lot to talk about. We've got lots of things coming up on the horizon for the team, and this is your opportunity to jump in with your questions. Maybe if you have any thoughts on addiction recovery, mental health issues, overcoming trauma, motivation, you name it, we can help you with it. Coach Blu here is a licensed mental health therapist and addiction counselor. Our cohort over there, the co-host, the brains behind this whole program, Marissa, she's a recreational therapist.
I'm a recreational
and addiction specialist.
Yes,
so it's good to have you on board, Marissa.
Thank you.
How is the holiday so far, as I should know?
It's going well.
Yeah.
It's getting a little crazy. We have Project Elf toys and presents and packages being delivered.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
If you out there could also give us a thumbs up on social media that you can hear us, we've done some adjustments to our equipment. The new equipment comes with a little bit of a learning curve.
Yeah, last week we were a little bit too quiet. So
yeah,
we're sorry about that.
So we've got our volumes peaked right now. So just let me know if you guys are like, no, you guys, there's
still too quiet.
Can't hear you. Yell in the microphone, right?
Yeah.
But nonetheless, let's talk a little bit about some stuff on the horizon. We've got Project Elf. There's a wrapping day coming up for those in the local area that want to come out and help and assist. We do need some wrapping paper, tape, and all that fun stuff, right? Bows, boxes, and everything in between.
Absolutely. And if you're still interested in donating, you can do that. We have donate button on Facebook. We have a donate button on our website. You can go there and you can donate throughout the year. We have things that we do throughout the year that we are always grateful for. And we also have storage of Christmas gifts so that we can get things throughout the year for Project Elf. So it's not just something that we just need donations for like October, November, December. We are welcome and open to that all year. And we thank you guys so much for helping us every single year. This is, I think, our 9th year of doing Project Elf.
Yeah.
And, bringing Christmas to those kids who parents can't really get it. Most of them are kids from families and parents who are newly in recovery, trying to get their feet back under them, or kids who are in foster care because parents are still out using, and trying to bring them a little bit of holiday cheer.
Yeah. You know, what's interesting too is when we started this, we also said that, we wanted to make sure that we got new people each year, and we've had to make some exceptions because of circumstances and whatnot. But one of the most heartwarming things that I've heard this year was a returning person who's reinvesting into the program because we helped them in a previous year. Yeah, that is the goal.
I have a post to share from her tomorrow. I'm so excited. She contacted me and said, I greatly appreciate all your help a few years ago. I'm in a place that my husband and I are doing better, and we want to be able to give back, and we want to take our son shopping. Could you match me with a family that is about his age so that he can give back and kind of learn from this experience? And in fact, it was yesterday she dropped off all of his gifts, and oh my gosh, I'm just, that's the stuff that makes this even better.
That's the goal. Yeah, right. And so sure. it does tug at your heartstrings. That's the purpose. That's why we do this. So thank you everybody who's contributed. We have our year in review this year. Last year we didn't get to do it because of that goofy pandemic, and although it's still very much kind of a thing, we are going to go ahead and move forward with this. This will be the 2020/2021 year in review, where we give out our yearly MVP awards, most valuable players on the team, our coaches, and a handful of other awards for people who have kind of stepped out and stepped up to take on recovery, help the team, help their community. So we're going to be holding that in January. So the 19th?
I think it's the 18th.
18th?
It's a Tuesday.
Yeah, and we will be live broadcasting this as well. So if you can't meet in person here at the home base meeting, we're going to live broadcast it, because I think it's super important that all you listeners out there get to see the fruits of the labor that these athletes produce and create over the year. So January it's a great experience.
We have other fun, just silly awards, other real heartfelt awards, and it's become such a wonderful tradition for the
Mhm.
team and for us to get together.
And we were bummed we couldn't do it last year.
Yeah.
And then we have a couple of remembrance runs. As many of you know, we lost a very dear member of our team, Don Hutchings, and we are going to celebrate Don's life through a couple of events. The first one will be held this Sunday at 1 p.m. We will post all this information if you're in the area and would like to participate with this Remembrance Run for Don. Tyson Rich is going to put this on, and we're going to meet over on Murdoch Canal Trail. We will definitely post the address. So if you're in the area, please, we'd love to have you come. Might be a little snowy, but you run and you walk, you get warm, but we'll do that to remember Don and the comment that he made to most any runner he bumped into, which is run with your heart. So we're going to do that just as a Remember Run. And then Terry Sawyer, who is a dear member of our team, is also putting on what she calls her cakewalk.
Yes.
Every time we have either a tragedy or we have something that we need to kind of gather as a team, I think Terry's done this for so many times, where she allows the athletes to gather at her home. And it's a cakewalk / run. Literally, you go there and you eat cake and drink hot chocolate and you go do this little loop around her mountainous terrain neighborhood.
When I first heard about this, I was like, great, I'll do a cakewalk. Like, right? You go to the carnival, the school carnivals, and you walk around on those dots in the circle and they pull names out and then you get a cake. No, that's not what we do.
No,
it's a 5K.
Everyone gets cake.
And everyone gets cake at the end.
Yeah.
But we also have always done it. Terry's always done it as a fundraiser, usually for foster care. And so that's what this will be again this year. The entrance fee will be a new toy for foster kids, foster teens. Please come, even if you can't afford or bring something like that. But we're excited to do that on noon on Saturday, December 18th.
Absolutely. So if you'd like to participate, we are still working out some of the kinks with the phone lines. We're going to get those up and running here shortly, but jump on social media. Marissa's monitoring most of those outlets. And so if you have a question, you can throw it up on there. And we'll get you guys your question read and hopefully answered. So we do have a few chambered from previous meetings. I don't know if you have anything right away, Marissa, but we can jump into it if you'd like.
I don't write it yet that I've seen.
Okay, well, let's jump into some of these that have been submitted through the past week. And I think that it's important that you all understand that these questions come directly from you, things that we've been a part of, people we've rubbed shoulders with, and topics that we felt like you guys might out there collectively want to know more about.
Yeah.
And this first one we're going to jump into specifically talks about self-discovery, trying to refine themselves, not just even after addiction, but why addiction happened in the first place. Self-discovery is kind of a process of understanding your own character and becoming more aware of your abilities and your potential and really your motives. Yeah. And sometimes as we get close to an addiction, as we experience addiction or trauma or life itself, we kind of lose the sense of who we are. Yeah. And if you discover yourself by tapping into passions you didn't know you had and maybe deciphering some of life's purpose, the reason you get up in the morning, so to speak, is to live a life that you feel has value.
Yeah.
And sometimes, depending on circumstances, situations, all kinds of stuff, we can get off that path. And this is something you and I have talked about quite a bit, just in the mundane routine of things that happen when we stop kind of, not going to say challenging ourselves, but allow some of our own wants and needs to be left unmet.
Yeah.
So there's a few things I think I want to touch base with this on specifically. It's about bringing, your own awareness, getting out of your comfort zone, living with intention and purpose, Dr. Paul, live on purpose,
yeah.
And then really finding yourself. And so how hard is it, do you think, to launch off of that foundation you have by being aware of bringing awareness to what's missing, what's lacking? I like the question we ask ourselves in the mirror every once in a while of what lack I yet? That awareness is sometimes hard to find because most of us are unaware.
Yeah. And you just don't even know where to start. I think a lot of people early in recovery, and I think this is a lot of people, we all go through different times in our lives where it's just like, who am I again? I've talked about this before when I went from, being a full-time working professional to a stay-at-home mom. That was difficult. It was
I remember that
transition.
Yeah.
And then I went from full-time stay-at-home mom to a full-time working professional again after like a decade. And that was really difficult. And I think we all go through just different adjustments in our lives, and sometimes it feels so overwhelming. You just don't know where to go.
Yeah. I think the first step in discovering and cultivating some awareness is recognizing what's happening internally and externally to help you understand maybe, your character, right?
Mhm.
Like who you are authentically, tapping into the feelings that you might have suppressed, and getting back into what inspires you. And that was one thing that I really thought about when you said, going from full-time mom to full-time, like professional again,
Yeah.
like overnight, pretty much. And that was what was inspiring you. And the fact is that you were willing to learn new
Yes.
strategies and new coping skills. You were able to pull out that character of leadership that you have inside. And when you have that kind of awareness, you're going to discover more about yourself, and your identity is going to come to a surface, which was pretty interesting. You saying that and watching that self-discovery in you, it was awesome because I watched it intimidate a lot of people too. And it was awesome because I'm like, wait a minute, why aren't you all rising to this professionalism?
Well,
Because people in the mainstream who had just gotten complacent with it, they've lost their self too.
yeah.
Does that make sense?
In what they're doing. Yeah. But what was funny is I think in that situation, I was unsure of myself, but I
You didn't show it.
didn't let people know. I mean, at home I did, and I talked to you about it, and just feeling so overwhelmed.
You remember what I said
I
about
don't know
that
how
kind
to
of
do
stuff?
this.
And I say this to every new clinician that I
Yes.
mentor, every
Yeah.
person that gets into the field. You know what I tell them, right?
Yeah.
What?
Just you're the professional, so they're looking to you for advice, and
Yep.
you've got to just do your best. And sometimes that may not be perfect, but you do what you can, and you ask for help and advice when you need to. But if you feel insecure in that situation, they're going to be able to read that.
I love that. I love that because that was told to me in not so many words when I was first becoming a counselor. And one of my dear friends, Derek Bushai, took me under his wing, and he said something close to that, where he was talking. I was needing to confront a mother and a teenager in a family group, and he's like, "Look, they're like, they don't care if you're an intern. You're here, So
Yeah.
if you're here, they're going to perceive you as knowing what you're talking about, even if you don't." And I got thinking about that. I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm the professional now.
Yeah.
And that
You know
imposter
more than
syndrome is real, but I'm like, I do know a little bit more about this than
Yeah.
maybe they're seeing right now. So if I'm the professional, I got to act like it. And guess what? I got ripped a new one
Yeah.
because I confronted them and they ripped me a new one. And I remember you were there this time. I don't know if you remember this. You were doing a experiential activity,
Right there.
and we had, if you remember, it was right behind the administration building there where we worked, and you had lined out the minefield.
Oh, okay.
And we had a mother that was kind of like
Right.
coddling this kid and like breaking the rules. And Derek's all, "Hey, go over there and tell her to knock that off."
Yeah.
And I'm like, my
Helicopter
wife is
parents.
here, Derek's here. I walk over there and I'm like, "What are you doing? You're coddling your kid. You're smothering him." And man, she let me have it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know the rule. And I remember feeling so small, but guess what? It worked.
Yeah.
It totally worked. And I'll never forget that, because that was the first time I kind of confronted someone on something after being motivated to show them that, look, what you're doing is why you're here.
You're hurting your kid.
Man, I'll never forget that. But that was the thing. We're the professionals. So that bringing of awareness will help you kind of, I don't know, reinvent yourself and become wildly aware
Mhm.
of really what you have inside.
I think it's also just getting out there and trying new things. As you do it, yes, there's gonna be anxiety, and there's gonna be fear, and but you'll find what you like, what you don't like. You'll start seeing talents in areas maybe you didn't recognize you had, and you build on that.
Mhm.
And if you don't start, you can't build.
Yeah.
So you have to get out and try something. And that's the best thing to do, is just try something new. And I think a lot of people say, yeah, but what if I fail at it? Well, we all do. We all fail at something. That's how we
Mhm.
learn. Kids don't learn how to walk by not falling.
Right.
They learn how to walk by tipping over and losing their balance. And that's how we do it. And so if you're going at life thinking, well, I'm only going to do the things I'm going to be successful at, you're not going to
You're not going to
risk a
go very
lot.
far.
And you have to be able to just be willing to just fail and get back up. And if you fail and get back up, and you recognize that this isn't working, try something new. That's no loss.
Yeah.
You've learned that you're not good at that, or you don't like that
Mm.
activity, or, but you're not going to know if you don't get out there and try it.
What do you think about asking yourself honest and hard questions? And this is a funny thing because we let ourselves off the hook sometimes, but sometimes we're way too harsh on ourselves. But
Yeah.
asking yourself honest and really hard questions, I think, is a key to self-awareness, because the right questions are the ones that may feel like they're going to hurt if you ask or if you ponder. You begin to kind of question the aspects of maybe your happiness, maybe the stress you're experiencing, grief, as we've talked about recently this week, relationships, career, purpose. This can help you, I think, learn more about yourself and become more aware by not neglecting the areas of life that need answers. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I don't think we question ourselves as much as we should. We kind of typecast ourselves in, well, that's just who I am.
Yeah. No,
Not good, is it?
I don't like. I hate it when I hear people say that. And you hear it a lot.
You hear it a lot. Well, I'm sorry, that's just who I am.
That's how I've always been. That's how I'll always be.
That's the equivalent of it is what it is.
If
the
that's
dumbest
to
comment.
me, if that's your mentality, you may think that's fine, but it's a sad place to be, because that means you're not going to progress. You're not going to get better. And I hope to never be in this place that I just think, oh, that's who I am, so leave me alone. That's how I'm going to do life.
Yeah.
Because it's not good.
The second part of that, after bringing the awareness, is getting out of your comfort zone. Listeners, this is a big deal. All humans, it's our human nature to want to live within a comfort zone, a safety zone. We choose comfort over discomfort 110% of the time, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so your comfort zone is that behavioral space when you kind of try to keep your body, your mind at ease, away from stress, away from any risk, right?
Yeah.
And really anything that's going to, like you said, maybe end in failure.
Yeah.
And so while it provides a mental amount of security, like your mind's like, oh, I feel secure.
I'm safe.
You know how I feel about achieving maximum security, right?
Yeah.
That's prison. And although it may feel as though it's lowering some expectations and maybe anxiety and stress, it does keep you from reaching any kind of great potential.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Some keys to getting out of comfort zone? I'd say build trust within yourself first, because we value safety.
Yeah.
You've got to probably challenge yourself in your comfort zone in things and with people that you can trust.
Yeah.
Right.
Try different things with support, a good support system around you, and start small. Like sure, you can start big. That's fine.
Yeah. But give yourself permission to be a beginner, right?
Yeah,
like
if you're really scared, just start with something little, and okay, I'm successful at that. And then you can just build on that.
I'm glad you said that. That happens a lot on the team, where people come and they think they have to be these collegiate athletes.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Give yourself permission to be a beginner.
Yep.
Right? Like you said, start small.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be this, I'm going to conquer an ultra marathon if you can't, even run like down to your mailbox.
Yeah.
Don't do that to yourself.
I remember thinking when I first started running, like my brother would like coach me on how to run. And I was like, what? I thought everyone just knew how to run, and I'm doing it wrong. And yeah, I was. We don't all know how to run.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some things you need to do to literally coach yourself, and that you can run more correctly. It doesn't mean you can't run, but you can run more correctly, more efficient, and have less injury, to be able to save your energy.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of just, I should have known how to do this my whole life, like take tips. That's okay.
Yeah. Give yourself permission to be a beginner.
Yep.
I like in any kind of situation where you're under your comfort zone, I would say embrace your curiosity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't embrace it. It's like if you're curious about running, if you're curious about nutrition, if you're curious about recovery, embrace it.
Yeah.
Right. Curiosity is, I think, within us all. And I really do believe that, where if we want to know more about something, know more about someone, we'll embrace that.
Yeah.
If you get out of a comfort zone, you have to do that.
Usually that curiosity is also going to bring motivation. It's going to bring some energy to do something, to try something, and to get involved. And whenever there's motivation, you follow it. Mm-hmm. Because motivation is fleeting, it doesn't last long. So if you're motivated to do something or try something, get into it, take it while you have that extra energy to push you towards it. And that can usually get you past that next hump of, oh, I can't do this, or the, insecurities of, I shouldn't try this,
Exactly.
get into it.
In this journey of self-awareness, we've covered awareness, right? Bring awareness, getting in your comfort zone. The next one is to live on purpose. This is Dr. Paul's kind of like foundation. And I love it. Living with intention and living on purpose, I think, is so crucial when you're trying to discover who you authentically are, right?
Yeah.
And I think that starts by really embracing, as Dr. Paul does, positive thinking, which is so difficult. Your thoughts are energy. We've talked about this in the past. So if your thoughts are energy, it's going to impact your mind. It's going to impact your action. So instead of just doing things willy-nilly, how about start living on purpose, with purpose? What does that mean to you? I love that comment by Dr. Paul.
To me, it's about self-awareness. I talk about that a lot. It's being aware. There's so many things we do throughout the day that are just like, we just naturally just do it. It's by habit. We could probably close our eyes and get up and brush our teeth and and get ready for the day. And you just know what the schedule is. But if you start living with intention, like you said, and being aware of what you're doing, when, why, how are you feeling? What are you thinking throughout the day? It's going to open your mind to so much more.
Oh my goodness.
If you're willing to look at it.
Absolutely. To embody it, like positive thinking, so many of us get in that negative mindset. It will consume you, listeners. It truly will. Your thoughts are energy. So that means if you consistently and constantly choose to move and to act with purpose instead of just reaction, you're going to be able to plot your own path and do some amazing things and experience some amazing situations and invest in amazing people. Yeah. Even if, and even because, and I'm like, I love Dr. Paul's principles on this. Anyone who's struggling with this premise, listen to our podcast with Dr. Paul, jump on Live on Purpose,
So much inspiration, education that,
the things I think listeners need to know is how influential Dr. Paul and Live on Purpose is to me, because pretty much the entire foundation of Addict to Athletes philosophy, principles, motivation comes from derivatives of living on purpose, because he was such a mentor to me. So that alone, if you want self-discovery, listeners, is going to be, like, I think, absolutely crucial for success. For sure. The last attributes we can move on, I would say, in self-discovery is truly finding yourself. Give yourself time for you to discover who you are, right? We try to do this stuff overnight. There are no overnight fixes that can make this stuff like just happen, right?
Well, and part of that live on purpose and that self-awareness is when you are trying these new things that you're evaluating and you're thinking, you're looking at it and going, yeah, I like that. And yeah, that feels good inside when I do this activity or I do this kind of interaction with these people. So I'm going to continue that. I'm going to do more of that, rather than just, oh, that was fun, and you just move on to the next thing. Like, you have to do an evaluation process at the end and kind of say, that was good. I should try that again. And, oh, I really like being with those people and doing that kind of, event. And I'm kind of good at that. And then you try it again and you do it again. And that's how you can start building on who you are.
So listeners, I'm going to test Marissa here, because it's great to give you guys these tips, but if you don't see how they work in real life, in real time, then we're just trying to be motivational speakers to you. And you'll just push play on this podcast and you'll be like, that was great. Marissa, hypothetically, let's say that you are an addict. You are in addiction, in the grips. You're wanting to change. You don't know who you are. Self-discovery is kind of not the term you'd use, but you're like, I have to change.
Yeah.
First comes awareness. What do you think goes through maybe, and it's a million and one things, but in this scenario, how does someone who wants recovery, wants sobriety, what awareness do you think they see first? I want to show the listeners how this all works now. What awareness does an addict need?
I think first they think, I just want to stop using.
Yep.
And my life sucks and I want the negative things that are happening to stop. I don't think they often look beyond that.
Right.
So
absolutely. So there's an awareness somewhere, right? That like, this doesn't feel good.
Yep.
I don't like this anymore. I don't like how I'm being treated. I don't like how I feel. I don't like where I'm at.
The things that are coming into my life, the things that are disappearing from my life, it's not good.
You've asked yourself some hard questions. Is this where I want to be? Is this okay for me?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're in that mindset, you're probably saying no.
Yeah.
Awareness, the comfort zone. Now, this is a big one for people in addiction.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have an awareness that you want something to change. What comfort zones do people in addiction automatically start to get nervous about leaving?
Friends,
family,
and family, the environment, the drug,
the drug, the environment, the drug.
Like,
absolutely.
yes, you know, it's not bringing you anything good in your life, but it's also how you've been coping.
Absolutely.
So that's scary to even think of not using it. Then on the flip side of that, it's the withdrawal from that substance. That's
absolutely
horrifying to think about, to even, you know, okay, I want to stop using, but I don't even know how I'll live through the withdrawals of the substance.
Absolutely. So if we're going to give ourselves permission to be a beginner or to be new at something,
Mm-hmm.
how does that play into a person starting recovery, getting out of a comfort zone? If you're going to give yourself permission to be a beginner in early sobriety,
Yeah.
what does that translate to in your mind? Like, I'm not going to be perfect. I'm going to have some ups and downs. I'm going to be upset. I'm going to get sick. I mean, there's so many beginning hurdles, right?
Yeah.
Out of that comfort zone.
And then it's finding somebody, that people that you trust. We already said
asking for help,
and getting some advice from somebody who's a professional that knows how to do it. They can give you tips and tricks, maybe somebody that's been through it, and you move to that one as second.
Absolutely. So then someone in addiction that's now starting this path, how do they begin to live on purpose, live intentionally?
Make a plan.
It's a big one. Form routines, right?
Yep. Surround yourself not only with, you know, a good coach or professional to help and give you that stuff, but people that you want to be like.
You want to be accountable to as well.
So then you have the accountability piece. You have people that you are modeling the correct behavior. That
Let's
you can
talk about that for a second. We haven't talked about this in a lot of years.
Mm-hmm.
And that is modeling someone that you looked up to as a mentor. Yeah. This is something we've talked about years and years ago. It's how I kind of got myself out of the rut of addiction that I was in. Mm-hmm. I started to kind of emulate and kind of live vicariously as people that I respected. Mm-hmm. I started noticing that people that I respected didn't talk the way that I spoke. They didn't listen to the music I was listening to. They didn't see themselves the way that I saw myself. They started interacting with people differently. I started really I'll say I was really kind of like carbon copying people that I truly, truly felt like had it. Mm-hmm. And I mean, to me, guess what? Those people weren't perfect. Yeah. But I took the things that were and I mimicked them. Yeah. I use them as mentors. Lots of people.
That reminds me a lot of Alex Pearson that we had on our podcast a few weeks ago, talking about addiction and autism. And that's what, you know, she's autistic, and that's what a lot of people with autism do. They learn how to just mirror people, to learn correct, proper social skills. And she talked about how much that helped her in her life to be able to interact with people appropriately. But also she said that she would always pick a character in a movie and just copy that, like everything about it. Yeah. And that's such a great way to start. Like, and you know, we say that that's what they do, but we can do, any of us can do that, you know, start finding people that you look up to and what are the traits that you admire, that you see that they're really good at, and try it, do it. Mm-hmm. Do the same things.
You know, it's the best, right? Yeah. So listeners, the reason why I want to take Marissa through this is because I wanted to show you that we can give you these tips, but if you don't apply them, or if you don't take them to someone that you want to help, then we're just sucking wind here. Yeah. This stuff will work if you apply it to the conditions that you're in, right?
For sure.
So I think that's important. So yeah, thanks for letting me put you on the spot there. But that's how you begin some self-direction, some self-identification, really, to really get into like who you are and what you want. And not live on purpose, man. That's the best stuff.
Yeah. Love Dr.
We have questions about secrets. You have anything over there?
Not yet.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, good. Because there's lots of questions about this. This was specifically given to me out of context. It was family secrets, you know, and it's this individual has seen the danger in keeping family secrets, but because they become so entrenched, she doesn't understand what is the difference between having, you know, like family secrets that shouldn't really be secret anymore, versus how much of her life is now lived in secret because that's just the way that she's become, like very closed off, very kind of like incognito, but like yearning to like step out of the shadow and like let people in.
Yeah.
But because she's been in a situation where everything has the potential, feeling of risk or danger, she's had to live her life in complete secrecy. And I'm talking about like from TV shows she likes, the movies she's seen, to what she likes to eat. She's just she keeps herself so secure behind all these walls.
Well, and when you do it for so long, it really becomes such a habit, and it's so habitual. That's such a hard thing to break and to try something new. So yeah, that's a tough one.
Keeping family secrets, I think, creates a very toxic environment, and it poisons the whole family.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Sure.
And I think it can be very harmful and lead to anxiety. It can lead to addiction, shame, trust issues, resentment, of course, stress, because that's kind of the standard issue thing. And like I said, more often than not, it will turn into addiction in some way, shape, or form as a coping mechanism to try and like feel that you're okay. But I do believe that there's different kinds of family secrets, and I want to shoot these past you and see what you think.
Okay.
Believe it or not, I believe that there can be healthy secrets in families, and healthy secrets can actually be beneficial to a degree. But think of these as like inside jokes that a family has with maybe like a handshake or a secret like look to keep like surprises, to keep surprises away from someone, right?
Well, see, and that kind of a secret, and most secrets like that are, it's something that's going to be a secret for a certain time until it's open.
Yeah.
Where I think we're talking about the secrets that somebody wants you to lock, key, throw
we're
away.
We're going to get there. We're going to get there. But these different kinds. And I want to teach people that there are healthy secrets out there too, right? Yeah. There are healthy secrets that we've kept away from the kids, right? Things like, what we'd like to do, though I don't think they listen to this podcast, but like so things that we want to do when each of them graduate, right?
Yes.
And things like we did for Brooklyn and the other kids with this time capsule we had for them.
Capsule for each of them when they were born.
We knew when the first one got it that everyone would realize that they have one.
Yeah.
But dude, we kept a secret for 18 years.
We let Brooklyn open hers just a couple months ago, and it was an awesome.
It was so emotional. Those are healthy secrets. And you're right. Yeah. Eventually those healthy secrets are exposed.
Yeah. And that's the point, is to hold it for a time.
Unhealthy secrets. This is where confidentiality kind of matters to a taboo topic. So this is like criminal behavior, maybe immoral or unethical violations of a family system. Could be like breaking rules of a society, and it can break down the family system. And I think unhealthy secrets are devastating. So these are things like, no one knows what goes on behind closed doors, right? This is where you see some of the emotional intimidation, and you see some of the stuff that creates family secrets like abuse and neglect. And we just watched this 2020 thing where these people in California had their kids locked up for decades. The oldest one was 29 years old and had been chained up.
11 kids.
11 kids. Oh. Those are unhealthy secrets.
Very unhealthy secrets.
Yeah. And just, it's disgusting when you look at it and you think, oh my heavens. So those unhealthy secrets, I believe, is where she's talking. Like there's been so much secrecy because of, families, just negative, I guess, approaches to life that she's now felt withdrawn.
A lot of those are trying to hide from consequences. It's not being accountable. It's trying to hide something so that you can get away with something you shouldn't. And totally dangerous.
So then she's turned into this one, which is number 3, solo secrets. And that happens when one person hides something from the rest of the family. Maybe it's a forbidden relationship. Maybe it's mounting credit card debt. Maybe it's an addiction, pornography, something like that. And really, it builds walls around you. Now, this typically happens more often than not in a family system. This is where a solo secret, and I'm going to use men as an example because, guys, we have a real hard time with this, where it's pornography addiction, maybe it's infidelity, and we have these solo secrets, and eventually it will be exposed in one way, shape, or form.
But most of the cases, just like you're saying, they don't want them to ever be.
No.
That's something they want to keep hidden forever.
Absolutely.
And there's the number one sign that there's a problem.
Well, and so what happens then when someone has like solo secrets and then they are exposed because the person holding the secret really, for the first time, is being exposed? They can be like, you're out of your mind. They can gaslight themselves into this. What you're seeing is not what happened.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, for sure. And everyone else.
It happens a lot with let's use this as an example. There's credit card debt, right?
Okay. Yeah.
I've heard recently in counseling and other places that there's a lot of people that have these hidden accounts, or they have like a credit card, but they won't allow their spouse or their loved one to see what's going on in there. To me, that makes zero sense. Yeah. Like, I just can't fathom that.
Yeah, that seems wrong.
Right? It seems wrong.
It is wrong.
There's nothing right about it.
Yeah, because what's the motivation behind it? Is it a secret because you're buying them some cruise and you'll show them the balance on that credit card later on?
Here's the deal. I know without a doubt that I would love to surprise you with the gift of the century and stuff.
Yeah.
But because you watch all the financial stuff, I know without a shadow of a doubt you're going to see.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, but like, I can't surprise you. Does that take away from any intention of like gifting you something?
No.
Does it take away from the enjoyment? No.
But if there was something you wanted to save up and surprise me with, and you're like, hey, I'm going to be, taking this much out of each account.
Exactly. See?
And not tell me what it's for. Absolutely.
But we're trying to do this, and people will use that solo secret for that kind of stuff to their advantage.
Yeah.
Well, I was saving up to buy this for you, and so that's why I had this card, and now you've ruined the surprise. Well, let's go, and then you feel like crap because you're like, oh,
gaslighting, guilt.
So dumb.
Yeah.
Listeners, if you're in a situation like that, let's get you some help, because dudes, you cannot put your loved ones through that kind of crap.
It's dangerous.
It is dangerous, and it's disgusting that you're even in that mindset. So if you find yourself there, let's get you out of it. Number 4 is parents keeping secrets from each other. This is when a spouse is hiding something from not just, well, it's when spouses are hiding things from the rest of their family. So it's like secrets that you and I have that we can't tell our kids. This happens typically when there are solo secrets that are exposed, and now both parents know.
Yeah.
But then they're like, we can't tell our kids this.
Yeah, or it's none of their business.
This happens all the time. Mm-hmm. And it's like, why are mom and dad so like at conflict with each other?
Yeah.
Not realizing that's because there was a secret affair that was discovered. And so they're treating each other different, and they're not letting the kids know. So what do the kids do? They guess. And what happens?
They usually guess wrong.
They guess wrong. Your family will always catastrophize even the smallest of issues because they don't know.
Yeah.
But if they see that change in behavior, they're going to automatically throttle it up to DEFCON 10 because they're like,
well, and
this is different.
Parents out there who think you can just keep it a secret and your kids won't know are naive.
You're dumb.
Naive.
It doesn't work that way.
They're little barometers, and they can tell something's off. They can tell something's wrong. Things have changed. What is it? And they just start looking, searching. And in most cases, not only are they going to guess wrong, they're going to blame themselves, and they will think it's them.
Absolutely.
And their fault. And that is horrifying when that's done, because that is most the time that is not the case.
Absolutely. And this happens so frequently. And I'm saying age appropriately, you can have these conversations with your kids.
Yeah.
You do not have to come out and say, for instance, well, I've made such horrible decisions that I've had an affair on your mom, which means that I had a sexual relationship with the secretary. You guys, that's not what I'm talking about. What it's saying is be accountable to your family and say, children, I've made some mistakes.
Yeah.
I've done some things that have really hurt your mom. Mm-hmm. And in order for me to feel as though I'm getting back into her heart and to be okay with you guys, I'm going to be going to therapy. I'm going to be doing this.
Yeah.
Mistakes happen. Or if it's an impending divorce, it's like, do not wait to come out of the blue with this.
Yeah.
Have the courage to step up and say, this isn't working and it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
But here's what it is.
Because like I said, they will blame themselves and think it's their fault that they did something, they said something, they're ruining the marriage, they're ruining the relationship. And that should never happen. But I promise you, it happens every single time.
It does. Keeping secrets from your kids that way, they're going to figure it out. It's like, well, all of a sudden dad's here and now he's gone. Well, who are they going to align themselves with? The parent that's still there.
Yeah.
So then you're like, well, this parent and your ex-wife, your ex-husband is now kind of like, feeding the children's negativity. No, they're not. It's all your actions, people, that led up to this with the secrecy of everything, because you're too afraid to get real and vulnerable with your children.
Yeah.
There are collateral damages with this kind of secrecy, isn't there?
Oh, it's dangerous.
It is. And the thing is
that just ruins a child's self-esteem.
100%.
And as much as you think it's just between mom and dad, no, you're making huge impacts on on just who they are and how they approach the world and approach problems. And then they learn that, oh yeah, you keep secrets.
Yeah.
And that's what I do when I have something going on. Or mom and dad are too stressed out. I don't know what's going on with them. I can't tell them what's wrong with me.
And then guess what happens?
Struggling.
Then they have solo secrets.
Yeah.
See how it works, people?
It's a big, dirty circle.
Absolutely. So what you've done too is if you've taught your children in those kind of situations that no one will listen and no one cares, and then you take them to therapy and you want them to talk to a complete stranger, it's like, that's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible because you've got to have enough emotional safety within your home to be able to do this.
And yeah, you may not be able to answer all those questions, but that's why you at least talk to them about it and then look at referring to a professional. But trying to keep all that to yourself, and then mom and dad are doing their own thing, but you, child, you need to go to therapy. They'll be like, what do you mean? Why don't you go to therapy? And then you're setting these separate precedents and standards, and that ruins things for kids too.
You dive in a little deeper with like split family secrets, where one family in a situation of divorce and remarriage, where there's two families and split children, that there's these secrets that come from each side. What says here, don't tell your mom this, don't tell your dad that. Not appropriate.
Never.
I know that divorce very seldom ends in like cordial, kind of exchanges, but people, it is with sad experience that you should have realized by now in 2021 going on to 2022 that if you are using your children as leverage and you're keeping secrets from another caregiver, you guys are creating the problem that is addiction, that is relationship and emotional disconnect. You're creating this.
Yeah.
You want to get to the core of solving these problems, start getting yourselves on the same page. Does that make sense? Knock it off as the secrets.
And does that mean that you have to agree on everything?
No.
But you need to at least be open and talking about the things you agree with, the things you don't, where you're at, that maybe you're confused. That's okay to tell kids. It's okay to tell anyone, to come out and say, I don't know the answer to this. I'm struggling with that, but say that.
Out of the hundreds and hundreds of split families I've worked with, I could probably tell you about, and I'm talking about hundreds, Marissa, hundreds and hundreds of families. I can tell you maybe 4, 5, maybe 6 families right off the top of my head that have cordial exchange. Ex-husband, ex-wife on the same page. Different lives, same page with their children.
Because they communicate.
And
they worry about respecting each other because they're putting their kids first.
Now, that doesn't happen in this day and age because everyone wants to be right, and we're scorned and we're pissed and we're upset and we want revenge. Stupid.
Yeah.
With the collateral damage.
It's painful.
Well, yeah, it hurts.
We're not saying it's easy. We're not saying any of this is easy. But yeah, the collateral damage that comes with trying to hold on to that.
It happened in my life. My mother was married and divorced as many times as I can even count. I mean, 6, 7 times. I grew up learning and understanding of a man I didn't know was the devil and how horrible he was. And so what'd that make me feel like? It made me feel like, well, if that's my dad that you're talking about, I must be that way.
Yeah.
So I couldn't bond to anybody. I couldn't.
From him.
Yeah. And because I saw her and the way that she was treated, I'm like, well, marriage sucks. And I was totally expecting to have these bad things happen. I luckily saw the writing on the wall. I got out of it. My siblings, not at all. They've all went down the exact same path. Why? Because the same conversations happened with them about their fathers too.
Yeah.
And so guess what? They're all screwed up. They've all had their problems. They've all had their issues. Some of them have done better. Some of them are still stuck way in it. So it's like, what are you really doing here? So these secrets, all these secrets, guys, you've got to be careful with them. It will consume you. It'll make you sick. Opening up about family secrets, right? And being able to live through the experience by letting the light shine on some of that darkness is only going to help you get yourself out of the muck. It's not going to solve all your problems, but you're carrying around this emotional baggage that you do not need to be carrying anymore.
That's going to show kids and others around you that you're willing to do the hard stuff, that you're willing to ask for help and, talk about it rather than just try to hide it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, to me, even if you're not doing a good job at like handling it, your kids are going to see that you're at least trying rather than trying to ignore it, because all that teaches a kid to do is I just ignore my problems and they'll go away. Because that's what I learned, from family and friends.
The sad truth about many family secrets that I've seen, that I've worked with other people, is that secrets relate to all kinds of bad behavior, acting out in inappropriate ways. And it's parents and siblings and children that often blame each other for these issues. So it's like, how about you just cut it off at the head? How about we all just start being accountable?
Yeah.
Right. Just start being accountable.
It's hard. It's scary, but I can promise you, like, pain now is going to make things much easier. More, if you're uncomfortable now, easier in the long run. It's going to pay off in relationships, in your life now rather than later. I know it's so easy to think, oh, I just don't want to deal with it right now, because when it comes back, it's always bigger. It's always worse. And there's always way more collateral damage.
Well, what happens too is, and it's happened with me, and I got to be very honest with it, is that it's made me view my family with disdain because of their character flaws. Does that make sense? And it sucks because it's put a wedge in between me and my family because of all their family secrets. You're talking about family secrets with me, Marissa, that even were trying to be exposed up until a year ago, just recently, where I get this conversation with my sister who's like, guess what? The guy that you thought was your dad, not your dad. A complete stranger, this other guy, this name that pops out of nowhere. It's like, you got
45 years old.
You got to find, 45 years old. She's like, you got to find this guy.
Oh my God.
And my mom was about ready to kill over. So I'm told, and I was there talking with her, and the family's kind of gathering around. They're like, she wants to tell you this secret. And she couldn't talk. She was like gasping for life. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't care. I don't want to talk about this, and they all leave the room and they come back. Did she tell you who your real dad was? I'm like, what Jerry Springer episode is this?
Well, and to me, when you came home and told me, I'm like, the first thing I thought was, if there is not a huge inheritance tied to this, if there's not a check somebody's writing to me, who the hell cares?
Thank you.
Who cares? And please stop.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing. And so really it makes me have disdain because of the character flaws and the openness of the defects.
Yeah. You start resenting them. And how do you build relationships and want to even be around people that you resent?
Absolutely. Because it's easy, I think, to say inherently that someone's bad, right? But the harder question is to ask, why is this happening?
Yeah.
So secrets are interesting. We do our absolute best. And in fact, I can say earnestly, because every inch of what I'm doing, that we don't have these things. And because we don't have these negative, I think we have some healthy secrets. Obviously, we have to, because we want to experience some surprise in life with the kids.
Yeah.
But authentically, who I am. I know who you are. We know who our kids are.
And
it's so much easier.
You may want to hold on to for a little bit of time. Like I said, if
I was a hard egg to crack, though. I had a lot.
Yeah.
Not even realizing they were secrets. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But when you recognize it, you've got to open up. You have to talk about it. You have to figure it out,
Absolutely. So this was a good question. My biggest thing for you, who was talking about this with me specifically, is to please just open yourself up. And the thing is I don't want to expose my family's secrets. I'm going to let them be theirs. I don't care anymore. I did my heavy lifting in my life over the 22 years almost now we've been married. And I'm like, I'm done with that stuff. So when I get these kind of weird, wacky, your dad's not your dad kind of stuff, I'm like, whatever. Like, it doesn't even register on my radar, because I'm like, I'm not giving it time.
Yeah.
So I would say the same thing to you. work, keep your side of the street swept,
Yeah.
don't go over to the other side and
No
try
matter
to
how
point out
much
their
someone
flaws.
else is lying, being dishonest, deceitful, you just be honest. You be open.
It's because of that I don't have a relationship with them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I love them. They're my family, obviously, but I don't have a relationship with them. It's because of that kind of stuff. When I go there, it's that kind of discussion.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't need that.
Yeah.
So
That's why.
yeah, interesting. Lots of deep emotions there, but nonetheless, I hope these have helped. I think we're almost out of time. So anything that you have final?
No, I think this is great topics.
It's good topics today. Yeah, great questions. Keep them coming. Even if you don't have one in the moment, you can still reach out to our instant messages, Blue at addictoathlete.org, Marissa at addictoathlete.org. Underneath this video here, we'll be posting this as a podcast. So, share it with anybody that may be stuck in trying to find out who they are or coping with family secrets.
Let us know how we can help.
Absolutely. I want to thank Radio Ronan and the Radio Ronan Network for all you do for Team Addict to Athlete. Jump on the Radio Ronan Network to check out all kinds of other podcasts. You guys, they got some deep podcasts in there, some good ones, some fun ones right now, specifically during times of chaos and craziness is a way to escape. So share this podcast, jump on, give us a review. That helps a lot. We've had a huge increase in listeners.
Yes.
So many of you are listening to this who are new to the team. Jump on addicttoathlete.org for more information. We have free recovery resources.
Yep.
Before you spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a treatment center, get to know what your addiction is first.
Yeah.
See if you can use our extracurricular recovery program through Patreon, right? To help you on this start.
$2 a month or more, you can get all the free content.
Absolutely. You pick a tier that works for you. So before you start spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, let's get a measure of what you're really dealing with. And if you need the support and the coach and the training, or if you truly need some more intensive stuff, it's all available. But addicttoathlete.org can definitely get you there.
For sure.
We've had interest in becoming sober coaches lately. We've got a couple people from a couple different states have been looking into this. Our intensive addiction recovery coach program is on there too.
We are excited that looks like we have a really high potential of having Addict to Athlete have at least two more other locations outside of Utah with chapters opening. So
absolutely.
If you're interested in becoming a Addict to Athlete certified sober coach, let us know. We'd love to have you take our training. And
it's not an answer a few questions and get going. This is an intensive 40-hour training that will give you all the tools you'll need to feel confident in starting a community support group out there. Maybe even bringing on some private clients that you could help sober coach them into the recovery path. So
it's a great peer support training.
Check it out, addicttoathlete.org. And athletes, until next time, please go turn that mess of addiction